Alright, we are back with another Everquest TLP remake. TLPs are short. Each expansion blows through so fast, they should release an additional TLP that is completely experimental, more so than they've done even with Mischief every year. And the ones that are old, they really can't maintain them. They should really just shut them down. Some of them have such low population that it's probably not worth the time to keep them running. Today's topic is epic weapons. And epic weapons were so great in addition to Runes of Kunark, like phenomenal idea, but they epically failed in maintaining and keeping them relevant other than clickies for the most of the game until they came out with the Epic 1.5 and 2.0 in Omens of War, and then Depths of Dark Hollow at 2.5 augmentation, and they just really let this idea just go to complete it. So if any of you are here after watching my travel revamp video that a lot of people are upset about, no, I shouldn't say a lot of people, it still has over 75% like ratio, which is actually one of the lowest liked non-short videos I've done, so hopefully that continues to climb once all the haters get their dislikes out of the way. But if you've seen that video, hopefully I can regain your trust with this one. So what we're looking at doing is adding back time sinks. So with that instant autoport travel system or not, we add back in time sinks and keep epic weapons relevant and in tune, or whatever you want to call it. The way this will go down is that upon a new TLP launch, both Classic and Kunark would launch together. More zones to experience in. With that is the release of the Epic 1.0. And the Epic 1.0 for the Kunark expansion would be okay, but as expansions come out, it loses power. Now, they already have something in game called Bane Strike, and I don't know when that was added, but what that does is after you kill a certain amount of mob types or mobs, it gives you a little proc as you melee, and I think even as you cast spells, you get that Bane Strike, it's called, and that increases in damage the more of them you kill, up to some type of cap. Well, that's a good idea, and I do like that. I think that when they release Velius, for sure, you should be able to enhance your epic weapon by, say, the same method as Bane Strike works, where you slaughter so many mobs of some type and it enhances your weapon. Now, they did introduce evolving items, I think, in Depths of Dark Hollow, maybe before then, I don't know, but I remember them from Depths, but they didn't really do it with substantial enough items. And if they were to use epics for a kind of an evolution or an evolving type item, they could keep people exploring the game and keep a grind and keep a time sink. And what they could do is, if that weapon was part of a group or part of killing so many mobs, say 100 you get a first little bonus, 500 you get a second little bonus, 1,000 of some type you get another enhancement. So after you say kill 1,000 mobs, maybe you're capped on like nulls. But the epic continues to increase in power up to what the top-ish weapon would be in Velius, and I have no problem with the epic still being the best, main hand, or at least a good offhand, depending on your class, in Velius. Like, it could be top tier, and you could add raid targets to what you have to kill to enhance power, but it's kind of like you'd have a little checklist of how to enhance each item. And so you go to, say, some type of NPC, they give you a quest, and then right on your weapon, as you right click it, it could probably give you all the achievements that you need, and then you could already use the achievement system to look up like what each one is. Maybe you gotta slay 1,000 kobolds or something. In Velius, there's so many different mob types, so many different zones, that you could make it so that people have to actually go and kill in all these different zones and kill all these different mob types to keep its power up. And then when Lucklin comes out, same thing. You gotta go to certain zones and you gotta kill a bunch of mobs to enhance your weapon to what would be a top-ish item for your main hand primary weapon in Lucklin. So it would be right up there competing with it, and it would be so that people that are just grouping would be able to still enhance their epic weapons. Maybe they're missing on some of the raid mobs, if they do actually add raid kills to enhance the weapon. I think that's probably fair, because people that are raiding, obviously that's always been the thing, you needed to have pretty much a raiding guild to finish most of the epics in Kunark, and then as the expansions progress, you could obviously go back and you would need less to finish an epic. And then it was designed that way too for the 1.5, be a couple groups or a smaller guild could get those pretty easily. You had best gear, you could do it with one group, but then the 2.0s are pretty much reserved for those raid guilds, except on Mischief, where they had orbs that were dropping outside of Anguish and whatnot. But I think that's fair to add an extra power up to make them raid equivalent, and then maybe the slaughtering and stuff like that is extra enhancement to be somewhere between group and raid quality. It would really add the time sink back to the game that I removed from the travel system, and it would give people a purpose to exploring other zones, exploring mob types, or grinding for other than just experience. Like, hey, I have to get my 1,000 kills in over here, so I got to go to this zone. And it could be random stuff. I mean, there could even be quests. It could be like an epic series of quests and kills that you do to maintain the power. And it doesn't have to be anything added to the game, just the one quest to enhance the epic. to what a top-ish item would be during that expansion. That would continue to keep the epics alive and relevant through each expansion. When Runes of Kunar came out, epic was something they added that was very awesome in the game. They were kind of hard to get, especially in the early days, and it took a lot of time, and it was that time sink and that hardcore EverQuest that everybody liked. And I think they should use the TLPs to bring that back. And like I said, fearless launches, got to kill so many different mobs in so many different zones, make benchmarks so you get a little bit of boost at 100, 500, 1,000. Luck Link comes out, same thing. Planes of Power, same thing. Do it all the way through so that the epics maintain relevance. And if you want, keep it completely separate, where there's a group portion of it and a raid portion of it, so that you can have something that's good for groupable gear and something that's good for raid. Now, obviously, if you're on a random free trade server, that's not a very good idea, and that's probably not the way that it should be done. But on traditional servers, that's the way you could do it. On the random loot, tradable loot servers, you're going to have to go ahead and enhance the epics somewhat easily to be the top raid stuff, because people are going to be able to buy raid gear cheap and the epics will become irrelevant again. You can join Mischief and pretty much buy best in slot gear, or at least top 3 best in slot gear for the current expansion relatively cheaply. I don't see people on a server like that spending time to grind out, mobs and other stuff like that, when they can just go ahead and buy a weapon for 100 plat or whatever. They get really low when there's a lot of one weapon type that comes through. If we keep the actual epic weapons the best in the game, I think that will give people an incentive to further better their character, spend time in zones that they won't normally spend time killing mobs when they don't need experience. And I think they should really look at implementing something like that. So if you're a hater to this idea, go ahead and get your comments out of the way, get my video dropped down low so I can feel like I'm making a comeback. As more people are open to the idea, come along and hit the like button. Something does have to be done to make the game easier. I hate to use that word, but faster, more modern. And it's fine to have 2 different crowds playing EverQuest. You can have 2 TLPs launch every single year, and one can be that traditional, and then one could be that crazy, bizarre, fast-paced server, and both people are paying, and it keeps the game alive longer. And who knows, some people may decide they don't like new changes and go back to the old. Some people playing old might like some of the new. We might find some type of balance in between that kind of appeases both crowds. But once again, thanks for watching, and whether you like this idea or not, go ahead and leave your comments below. I'm more than open to have a discussion. Until next time.